And so let me share my screen. All right, so once again, welcome to the Python programming for analysis class. So my name is Jan Březina, and probably we've seen each other either recently in some class or maybe last year at some of the Kyoso events, because so I'm affiliated with the Faculty of Arts and Science, but also with the Kyoso Gakubu as one of the teachers. And also I'm a member of the Faculty of Mathematics. So actually mathematics is my specialization. So I'll be the instructor for this class, and we also are going to have a TA for this class. So I will ask him to briefly introduce himself.
Hey guys, my name is Likit Manjunatha, or you can call me Rikito. So I'm a doctoral student from the Department of Hydrogen Energy Systems, and yeah, I'll be your teaching assistant. And I hope that you ask me a lot of questions and learn a lot throughout this course. And 日本語でも英語でも何でもいいので、適当にいっぱい、質問してください。よろしくお願いします。
Okay, thank you very much, Likit. All right. So, well, as you all know, I mean, the time, the situation has it. So our class is going to be completely online, but we try to figure out some system where it's not going to be so bad, hopefully, or it's going to be to our hopefully it's going to be to our advantage as well. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. The main two languages in this class is going to be English and Python 3. So as Likit already mentioned, it is fine if you need to ask question if you cannot figure it out in English, if you need to ask question in Japanese, is no problem. We're gonna try to accommodate, but at the same time, all the materials and everything will be in English, and try to practice that as much as possible. So first, let me say something about the course. So if we look at all the data science courses from all the data science courses for Kyoso Gakubu, so you see that our course sits somehow in the sort of in the middle. There are some courses that you could have taken up to now, and there are some courses that you can take now together with this course. And so all of these courses, their focus in some sense is on the data science. If you don't know what a data science is still, well, I think you all kind of have an idea, but I wanted to show you. I found this kind of interesting picture that you might have seen before. That the data science is this unicorn sitting here in the middle, in the intersection of all the other related disciplines, and yeah, from point of some people, I mean, yeah, data science really is the rising star of the science at this point. So it's quite a useful thing to know something about. If you still really don't know that much what to imagine so much under data science, I share here a video. We're not gonna watch it now. You can watch it. You can watch it anytime later. To make it more, I would say, closer to you. So what can you do as a student in a data science? I will ask now Likit to give a presentation of what he in his. So he's a doctor student, first year. He did masters and undergraduate here in Kyushu University in the Faculty of Engineering. So he's gonna show you or tell you what did he use Python for, and what kind of data science project he worked on. So you can take over, Likit.
All right. So yeah, my name is Nikit. I'm currently a first year PhD student, and I did programming for the most part from third year of my undergrad until my master's. So yeah, today I thought I could briefly touch upon what you could potentially do if you learn programming using Python. So one of the cool things that I could do using Python was computer vision. So I did an internship in a company where it was necessary for me to calculate the height of a liquid in a container. So especially in a manufacturing line, we want to automate things. We want to do things without human intervention, right? So this was one of the problems that the company tasked me to do. And so I thought, well, if humans aren't going to go there and look at it, you would have a camera or a computer take a look at what was in the container and how much of the liquid was in it. So this was the problem. You take a picture and calculate how much was the height of the liquid in that container. So I developed a 4 or 3 method procedure, where the first would be to fill the cup with certain determined heights at 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter, till 7. And so you would know the height of the liquid, and you would take pictures at each of those heights. And then I used Python's computer vision library to detect the edges of the liquid. So you would essentially get a program that determines the presence of a circle and then calculate its radius. And then you can plot the height of the liquid that you already know against the radius of the liquid in pixels calculated by the program. So that would be the calibration step, and you only do this one time. And so the next step would be to determine a functional relationship between the height of a liquid and the radius of the liquid in it. So you would get, well, I just drew this using a computer tool, but you would get a nice regression curve, right? And so now the problem is you fill it with, I don't know, with enough liquid where you don't know what the radius is, you don't know what the height is, and then you want to know the height in the end. So you follow the same procedure. You conduct edge detection program, and then to calculate the radius of the liquid in pixels. And then you already have the regression curve, which determines the relationship between the radius and the actual height. So you input the radius in this curve, and then you calculate that the height is, well, I just wrote this randomly, but you get a definitive height. So that's one of the cool things that I could do using Python. And it's not so complicated because Python has a lot of libraries to do these things for you. You don't have to write an edge detection program right from the beginning. Someone has already written it. So you simply use the algorithms in an intelligent way to solve problems much faster than you would using any other programming languages. And so, yeah, the entire program was maybe 100 lines, I guess. So another important thing that you could do was automation. So during another internship, I had to do experimental work, which I had never done. And so this was the procedure of the experiments. So first I had to lower the temperature and create frost, Shimo, using a chiller machine. Is this big thing. You can operate the temperature, increase the temperature, reduce, and things like that. And then the chiller cools down the sample plate and creates a frost. So this is what it would look like from the front, and this is what it would look like when you see it from the side. So you create frost, and the idea was to create it, I don't know, do it until it reaches a thickness of, let's say, 5 millimeters. So the next problem was, how do you determine that it reached 5 millimeters? They used this extremely archaic tool to measure the frost thickness. And this is what happened the first time I did it. So I thought this was very stupid. So I was, trying to think of new solutions. But anyway, after you measure 5 millimeter frost, it is time for you to raise the temperature and melt the frost again by operating this machine. And then you take the video of the melting process. So you have to be there the entire time and conduct everything manually. And then you plot the frost thickness versus time, which might take hours. And then you're finally done. This was the experiment. So to give you a bigger picture, this is what actually happened. Without Python, I had to create frost of 5 millimeters, which took 9 to 12 hours. And then I had to measure it using an instrument which could potentially ruin the frost, thereby ruining 10 to 12 hours. And then you had to control the temperature at the exact right time. And then immediately you would have to operate the camera to start taking pictures after it starts melting. And then you have to rename the file, plot the graphs, and do all the post-processing. So with Python, on the other hand, the idea is to automate it. So whether you're in the lab or not, it's irrelevant. So you don't have to be there. You just click one program and then go home and play, right? And then you calculate the thickness of the frost using Python again, using image analysis, as I explained to you before. So the idea that I used was use computer vision to determine where the edge of the sample was. And then after the frost keeps growing, right? During the growth of the frost, you determine where the new edge is. And in real time, determine what the frost thickness is in terms of pixels. And then you'll try to determine the relationship between the pixel thickness and the real thickness and calculate the frost thickness. And so this is how I did measure the frost without actually touching any instrument. And Python can also be used to control different machines using a serial communication. So this is just sending a signal and then receiving a signal back and try to implement it using the program interface. And then you can also control the camera to take pictures regularly every 10-second intervals. And then you can try to determine or control the video taking mechanisms using Python. You can control everything and automate it. And then finally, use Pandas and NumPy and other data processing tools to name the file, plot the graph, and do everything automatically. So what was in the beginning a requirement to stay in the lab for 12 plus hours every single day to get one of these graphs. I mean, all I had to do was place the sample here and click a program, and then, I could have fun the entire day. So knowing Python could allow you to apply these tools very intelligently in different aspects of your life. I didn't know that you could use Python to do all of this, but once I faced a problem, I was forced to use my skills in order to do something new. And I hope that during the course, you learn as many things as you can, so that one day when you face a problem during your experiments, you could intelligently integrate it and make your life much easier. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Likit. So that's one interesting use of Python in your lab life. So anyway, to wrap it up, the goal of data science is the insight into the data, is to get some new information out of the lots of information you can collect. These days we can collect huge amount of information about basically anything, but to get some kind of a answer out of it simply by looking at it is usually impossible. All right, so that's about data science. So now let us talk a bit about the course. So if we take a look at the course overview, it says the following. Students will learn basic techniques of programming and data analysis. We will use the Python programming language for this course. Students will learn how to think like a computer scientist, meaning that they will learn to solve problems using a computer. Mainly, we will be concerned with things like organizing, sorting, verifying, modeling, or transforming data. So this is, let's say, a rough overview. So the idea in this course is for you to learn generally two things. Because we want to use a Python language for getting insight from the data. So you need to know some Python or as much Python as possible. And the other thing is to, what it says here, to think like a computer scientist. That means to solve problems using computer. I think you all solve problems every day of different types, just using your head. But using a computer to solving problems, that needs usually some slightly different way of how to think. You have to, at one point also, you have to kind of think like as the computer, to know how the computer does its computation, how does it, what kind of logic it uses, all right? So, but we're gonna get to that in a moment again. So the aim of the class or the new skills to learn in this class, I would generally divide them into three areas. So the basic ones are, the basic aim of this class is to introduce you to popular libraries of Python that are used for data science. So Python is now #1 language used in data science all over the world. There are, of course, other languages like R and C and so on. But Python now is very popular. And the reason for it is that there is a huge community, and there is already a lot of pre-made libraries for things that people usually do. So you don't have to really write so much code with Python because already lots of people wrote that code before you. So you just need to find a library, learn how to use it, and then just apply it. And that leaves me to the second aim, and I would call an essential, and that is ability to independently find and Python libraries and to put them to use. So that's something that we're going to be practicing. So in this course, we're going to show some of the basic libraries and how we find them, how we use them, how we work them. And then you by yourself, you should be able to find more, or the ones that you need for your projects. Because of course we cannot touch everything. And anyway, this I'm going to repeat this probably several times in this introduction, but you know, Python is a language, and so you have to keep learning it all the time. You cannot expect to go through some course and then know how to do things. The idea of this course is to set you on the path of learning, but most of the Python you have to learn by yourself. Nobody can really teach you Python. You learn Python by using Python. Like with any other language, I mean, for example, you had the English courses. Yes, they can explain to you how the grammar works. They can give you the dictionary with the words and what is the spelling. But to learn the language, you learn it by using it, by writing, by reading, by talking. And that's exactly the same with the Python language. So in this course, I really cannot teach you much, but I will try to provide you materials and problems on which you can learn. And while you're learning, me and the TA, we will try to answer as many questions as you have, so your learning proceeds faster than it would if you took just a random course on the internet. All right, and so the third aim of the advanced aim of the class is to get some abstract understanding of how computers work, what is the inner working of Python, and how to also program efficiently. As we will see, and as you might have already seen when you were in the course, in the previous courses, as your thinking is getting, as you learn more, your thinking gets more clearer. And in the beginning, you're using tools which are maybe kind of awkward and they are not so easy to use. But later, you use better and better tools and better ways of thinking, and then also your coding gets better. Your program gets shorter and more efficient. It spends less time to do any kind of calculation. So let's say this is the overview. This is the idea of the course. But I also kind of like to fit the course as much as possible to the given year, to the students, and to their interests. So that's why I asked you before coming to this class to answer the survey. So let us take a look at the results of the survey. And thank you very much to those who answered these questions. So here on the top, so here we have the results on what was the question? So which courses did you take or do you plan to take? So blue means yes, and orange means no. So as you can see, so most of you took the preceding courses in the first year and a half. And I see that lots of you is planning to take this course on this year. It's renamed for Methodologies for Practical Data Analysis with Senda Sensei. And maybe let's say 1/4 of you or few of you is also interested in the machine learning and data mining. So that's great. I see that you already done some stuff before. And also then there were other questions. So if you use Python outside of class, so as you can see, the amount of people is maybe less, about maybe 1/5 of people use the Python here and there. And so here immediately, this is a problem. Like I said, it's a language. And so if you really want to learn something with Python, you have to use it regularly. The best way, it's like with an exercise, is best if you do a little bit every day. That's the general recommendation. Of course, I know it's hard, but definitely throughout this course, don't do everything in one day, in one go. Do things, split things, and maybe repeat things and look back at the things, because otherwise you will not learn it. It's like with the English. If you use it for 1 hour a week, then your learning curve is really, really slow. And maybe sometimes it's getting even, things are getting worse. As for Python ability, so most of you said that you're newbies. All right, no problem. Yeah, maybe 1/5 of people said that they don't have any experience with Python. Shouldn't be a problem. I mean, we're gonna fix the course so you can also so you can join us, so everybody can join. I'm glad to hear that almost everybody has experience with the Jupyter Notebook. So for the class, the Jupyter Notebook is gonna be our main environment. If when you do the programming, it's fine. You can make it in any kind of IDE you like. I have no problem with that. Do it with the console, but whenever you be submitting the homework or whenever I will be giving you some information, I'll be using the Jupyter Notebooks. So it's really necessary that everyone has a Jupyter Notebook installed and knows how to run it, all right? Yeah, some people, maybe third, has other programming experience. This is great because, well, that means they have some other language experience. And if you have other language experience, you kind of get a better grasp of how, well, what's the point or what's the important part of the language. So why did you choose this course? So most people said that basically to learn Python. So to learn Python or to get better in Python, smaller part of the people, or they said sort of that they have no idea or they are not sure. The other people, they said something in a sense that they would like to learn to do data science. So we will try to do both in this course. But like I said, it's really up to you. How much you learn is really up to you. And for the future use of Python, so some people still have no idea. That's quite fine. And then, I mean, there were lots of different answers. People want to use it in lots of different areas, but basically to analyze some data they will get from their future job, if it's a research or working at some company or doing anything else. All right. So I'll talk about this in a moment, but so I take this results kind of into consideration in what will be the content of the class. And then I also ask you to try and do some exercises. So I have some idea, because on one hand, I mean, I ask you here what you think are your abilities, but some people tend to overestimate themselves, and some people tend to underestimate themselves. And also, depending on the person, you know, deciding what is the level, that's quite also different, right? It's in each class. Might be different what someone thinks is sufficient and what the other person thinks is not sufficient. So I gave you some quite simple exercises to see where you are. I had some feedback that maybe you could not do some of the exercises because yeah, maybe the text was in English, maybe the style was not what you're used to, but nevertheless, this was more like, for me, yeah, to know if this is the style that I would like to follow, and so to see what's your understanding in the beginning. No worries about if you could not do much or could not do anything. We're gonna get there. So as you can see, basically 80% of people did not submit anything, or what they submitted was wrong. Then we had few people who could do basically everything, and then we had few people who could do something here and there. So let's say my understanding from all of this is that most of you are complete beginners or beginners with a little experience, and therefore I decided to structure the course in the following way. So in the first half of the course, roughly, so let's say first quarter, we're going to learn how to use Python. We're going to learn how to program with Python, but also to make it both a bit more interesting in general, and also for those who already know the stuff from the Python. So we're not going to follow, let's say, the standard kind of a course where we would just go through the different parts of what the language has to offer and then practicing those by themselves. What we're going to do is we're going to follow this course called Programming with Python, and I'm going to talk about it just a minute later, where we're going to be doing some sort of basic data analysis immediately from the beginning. So basically at the next class, we already be doing some data analysis, a very simple one. I'm not saying it's the one that you would do at the end of this course, but the point of this first half, the first 7 to 8 weeks, will be to learn how Python works, how to think like a programmer. That means how to solve the problems using the computer. So they're going to be easier programs, but we're going to look into this arthritis inflammation data. We're going to be drawing graphs and trying to find some basic patterns. And so here in that first half, so I hope after the first half, basically everyone will be able to use Python on this kind of basic level, that they will not be intimidated by writing few lines of code. And in the second half, we're gonna go into the, let's say, real Python for data science. We're gonna introduce libraries like NumPy, SciPy, especially Pandas, which is one of the most popular data science libraries. And we're gonna work on some data science projects. My favorite one is the Titanic, machine learning from disaster. So we're gonna use the data from the ship Titanic. Probably you all know that sunk more than 100 years ago. It was a big disaster. And there was a great movie about it, made lots of dollars. And so we have a data about, or there exists a data about the passengers who was on the boat, what kind of people. So we will be playing with this data, and we're trying to figure out who had the higher survival rate, who had more chance to survive the disaster. All right, so that's about the content of the course. Now, okay, I'm sorry, talking already quite long, I suppose. It's unfortunate in this first class. So now, very important thing is the class flow. So, like I said, right? So we have to do the class online, and this is a programming class. So That means you have to do stuff on the computer, you have to do programming, and different people take different time, different problems take different time. So in my experience, kind of asking you to program within the 90 minutes of the class is not really, it does not really help to most people. They really cannot do much, and I think then they cannot progress very much. So I come up with the following solution. So we're gonna have a cycle, a weekly cycle that's gonna just repeat and repeat, and we're gonna start it today slightly. We're gonna jump into it. I'm gonna explain that later. But let's say now think of a next week. Okay, so let's say we are in the cycle and think, so next week, so next Tuesday at 8:40 in the morning, I will publish new learning materials on Moodle. By learning materials, I mean I'm gonna publish which part of this arthritis inflammation course you should read. And also I will add a video which I shoot where I'm trying to highlight and maybe further explain what is to be learned for that week. And you get a homework. The homework we're gonna see about in a bit. It's gonna be somewhere between 3 to 5 exercises to work on. So every Tuesday morning, you're gonna get the learning materials, the text, a web page basically, a video, and you get a homework that you should work on. You should read the learning materials. You don't have to watch the video. Hopefully I'm making these videos to help you so you can watch the video, and you should work on the homework. If you get stuck with the homework or with the learning, well, like I said, when learning programming, you have to learn to be as much independent as possible. So use Google or Yahoo or whatever you're using for searching engine, and try to look for the answer for the problem there. If you cannot find it, also feel free to use, we're gonna have a class forum on Moodle, so ask questions on the class forum on Moodle, and if somebody else knows the answer to it, also feel free to put the answer there, okay? Then on Thursday morning, we have the class. The class is Thursday morning, 8:40 to 10:10. We're gonna have the class like this on the Zoom, but during the class time, I will not be generally explaining anything new. The class time will be for you to ask questions about the homework, about the learning, if you had any problem. So you can come here and you can ask me or the TA. At this point, we have maybe 44 students on the registered on Moodle. I think now here on Zoom, we have 39 people. There is 39, okay. You got 40 people. We have 40 people here. That's a lot. So what we're gonna do is every week, we're gonna split you into 2 breakout rooms, into 2 smaller groups. And in one group, there'll be TA and you can ask him a question. In the other group, it will be me and you can ask me a question, and we will change weekly. So the groups will be fixed for the whole semester, but me and the TA, we will be changing weekly from one group to another. So you get chance to ask the questions to both of us, all right? Also, maybe before we do the group work, before I split you into the breakout rooms, if I have any general announcements I need to do, or if I notice something that I think is good to tell everyone at the same time, I'm gonna use that time. Now, the deadline for submitting the homework will be Friday midnight. So you get homework on Tuesday morning, and you have basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You have 4 days for the homework, and halfway, that's on Thursday morning, you get a chance to ask us if you have a problem with the homework or with the learning, all right? Follow the deadline. If you submit the homework after the deadline, we either not look at it at all, or if we get the time and chance to look at it, then you will not get a full score even if the homework was spotless, all right? So follow that. And Then on Monday morning, or well, not morning, let's say during Monday, I will publish on Moodle some general feedback to the homework. So we're gonna take a look through the homework, and we will not be sending individual feedback to people unless we feel really necessary about that. But I'm probably gonna make another kind of a short video where I will go over if there was some mistake that almost everybody did, or and I will publish the solution. I will publish the solution, what we think is one way to solve it. There is never one way, okay? There is never one way or the way. There is lots of different ways how people think. And so, you can compare solutions in a, for example, for effectivity and stuff. But generally, yeah, it's fine as long, in this class, as long as you solve the problem, as you're gonna create a code that runs and that solves the problem, then is fine. But on Mondays, I will publish I will publish the solution and some short video commentary on that should hopefully help you to realize where you made mistakes and what to be careful about. And then again, Tuesday morning, you get the new learning materials, new video, and new homework. And this is how it's going to spin. All right. So this week is slightly different, but we're gonna get to that. But so this is how it's going to be from next week, Tuesday. We get onto this spinning, onto this repeating cycle. Yeah, I know maybe this is because you have lots of classes and I have other classes, and then I do things also differently. So then it confuses me. So please read this carefully. If you will have any question at the end of the class today about the class flow, if you don't understand it, ask at the end, and make sure that you remember. I will try to put these, especially about the deadlines, everywhere. But okay, so you don't get confused. As for class rules, so the number one class rule is do not share complete source code for the homework with anyone. Other source code is fine, but again, it's a class, it's a learning for you. If you do not understand the homework and you copy paste a code from somebody else, it's not gonna help you. Yeah, okay, maybe in the end you get a slightly better grade, but you will not learn anything in this course. And that's a waste of time for you, and it's a waste of time for me. My point here is not, the point of the class is for you to learn something. If you don't learn anything in this class, that it was really wasted time for you and for me. And I enjoy and I would like to teach you something. I would like to help you with your learning. But yeah, if you do not learn anything, then I mean, I've got better things to do than being here and doing the class. So so please try to do as much work as you can by yourself. It's of course fine to ask for when people you get stuck, and if you get some part of a source code or even the whole source code from someone, then at least make the effort to fully understand it, to fully understand how does it work. Okay. So for the homework, again, do not use copy paste. Both it's cheating, and you're cheating both the class and you're cheating yourself. So these rules apply especially to the forum. So I think there's lots of forums on the internet, but sometimes maybe difficult to use and it takes a long time to get an answer. So if you have a homework or class related question, ask it in the forum, and I'll try to answer, or the TA will try to answer, but maybe we are not there right away or not so fast. If somebody else knows the answer, feel free to answer, but don't give, usually don't just copy paste the code there. Try to give some hints, try to help the person to figure it out for themselves. And so anyway, I mean, I don't want to be bothering you with lots of class rules, but well, use the common sense, like in any other class. What is okay to do, what is not okay to do. If you're not sure if something is okay or not, feel free to ask about it. That's the best, I think. So as for the class materials, so stuff will be published on the Moodle course page. And at this point, we're gonna be using this Programming with Python webpage or online learning. I'm gonna get to that at the end. So what if I want to master Python? What should I do? I already think mentioned a lot of that, but basically if you want to be good, and not just master Python, but if you want to really be using Python, if you want to be able to use it in something, then well, read books. There's lots of free books. You can also buy books, but there's lots of free materials out there on the internet. Actually, there's maybe more than necessary, so it's difficult. So to find some, I think one good advice is to stick to, if you find a material that you like, then just stick to it. Don't change the materials. If you don't like it yet, then feel free to change it. But if you find something that you think you like the style, stick to it. So find and read books, watch videos. YouTube is full of videos, tutorials. There are online courses on EDX, on other platforms. Some are paid, but lots of them are free. They're good. There's lots of exercises. Use Python regularly. As I said, try to use it at least 3 times a week. At least 3 times a week, find a half hour or hour to use the Python. And this also goes with the copy pasting. If you see a code somewhere, and unless it's like super long, rewrite it. Do not copy paste it. If you copy paste the code, it's not gonna go into your head. If you be writing it, you're gonna be making mistakes, and you're gonna see how the code is developing, and this is how you're gonna remember it, and how you get learn something right. Just from copy pasting a code, you learn nothing. Work on projects. So we will be trying to do some projects here, but find other. There is lots of pages like Kaggle and others where you can find a project, data science projects, or any kind of project close to you, and you can okay. So yeah, I'm sorry. I speed it up. Maybe I speak now too fast. I'm sorry. So work on projects. Find interesting projects. There you can learn Python. There are projects for complete newbies. So just use Google. So I'll be publishing the notebooks like this one today. Play with the notebooks of others. So I will publish this this Jupyter notebook that I'm just showing to you. I'm gonna put it on Moodle, and I try to put here lots of features. I put here hyperlinks. I put here how to include pictures, how to include videos. You see here how to plot some graphs. I'm gonna say simple. Yeah, it's simple. It's just there is lots of stuff here, but so feel free to take this notebook and just take a look at the code and play with it. Change the parameters. This is how you really learn, is you change the parameters, you make mistakes, and then the Python either shows you some errors or it behaves in a different way, and that's how you learn, oh, this does this and this does that, and that's how you remember it well. Again, so if you have any problem and a question, Google first, then ask people later, because most of the questions you have already someone has answered on the internet. There is lots of answers, so look through those, and if you don't understand them, yeah, then ask someone. Ask me, the TA, other colleague. I added here, this is a short 10-minute video. It's called 10 Tips for Learning Python Fast, My Master Python in 2020 by Python Programmer. I like this guy. He's a programmer from UK. He has really nice English. He tries to make his videos short, informative, and funny. He has lots of resources on Python and lots of good tips on Python. So I recommend you to watch this video. All right, as for the Python installation, so I already put some links on Moodle, but here you've got some other links. So you can use Jupyter Notebook online, but don't do it regularly. Of course, sometimes your computer doesn't work or you have to take another computer or something. It's fine, then there's a link for how to use Jupyter Notebook online. But definitely if you have a computer on you which you work regularly, download and install Python. Easiest way is to download here this Anaconda platform. It includes both Python and Jupyter Notebook. Here is a link to video how to install this Anaconda platform. Here's a video how to use the Jupyter Notebook. And also there is a link to Jupyter Notebook Markdown cheat sheets. So those are just what kind of code you can write in the Markdown of Jupyter Notebook to get headings and stuff like that. All right, but we're gonna get to this again. So grading, yeah, it's the standard grading. A to D is a pass, F is a fail. So it's up to you. I mean, if you just want to pass the class, well, you can aim for the D, but like I said, it's a waste of time for you and for me. I wrote here sort of my motto is better have C and learn something than A and learn nothing. So like I said, don't cheat yourself during the class by, either if you don't spend the time, you will not learn. I mean, yeah, this is one of these things that you have to give some, I mean, it's like with everything. You have to work some into, you have to give some work into it. And if you feel it's hard, it's good. It's good. Hard means that once you overcome that, that means you have done some work and you have learned something. So we will be giving exercise, like I said, every week there will be some homework exercises. They will be of different difficulty level. So if you don't do them everything, it's fine. I mean, for maybe roughly speaking, like for a student, you have to do everything perfect. Of course, if you make a mistake here and there, it's not a problem. And if you do not catch up right away from the beginning, it's not a problem either. But from a student, I expect to be able, towards the end of the course, to be able to do the advanced exercises. If for a C student, if you can do elementary and simple exercises, it's fine. Definitely, if you cannot do anything at the end of the course, don't expect D from me, okay? What I will try to look at and what I will try to follow is your learning curve. Yeah, we all start from different positions, so I understand that some people cannot start from 0 and be A in the end with the same level as someone who starts already and he has some capability and then that. But so I'm gonna try to learn I'm gonna try to follow your learning curve. And so if I see that you're learning and you're improving, then even though you're not able to do everything at the end, you're gonna get a good grade. So the grade depends on the quantity and the quality of the submissions. So quantity means, well, how many of the exercises can you do, but also on the quality. Yeah. So if you give me some code that does not run or runs half, or I mean, actually, if there's a code that doesn't run, we probably will not even look at it. I mean, the code has to run, or you have to have some explanation. What did you not do or why? Yeah. So the code has to run at least. And it should be as best as possible. We will have some final project at the end of the course. It will depend, maybe yes, maybe no, or the difficulty of it will depend on how the course proceeds and how are you all doing. So yeah, so the class attendance is not mandatory. If you will not be coming these Thursday mornings, it's fine. But then if you're gonna have some trouble later or at some point, or you will feel like maybe I should have given you a better grade. I mean, if I haven't seen you coming here trying to ask questions, then don't expect me to be helping you if you did not try to help yourself throughout the course, or you didn't try to take the help that we were offering throughout the course. Extra assignments are possible under very special circumstances. I mean, don't worry if you don't ask in advance. But if you feel like there is some reason why you should or why you need an extra assignment, then ask right away. I mean, don't ask me in advance now if this is possible or this is not possible. It will be case by case. Yeah, of course, if you get sick during the course or something, sure, we can, I will try to accommodate that as much as possible. And I think one important question, one important thing is a timely and polite communication with us. So, similar thing now happened with the exercises you were supposed to do before the course. So I sent you an email a week before. I think probably you all saw it. At least you must have seen it like 5 days before. And then some people write to me few hours before the deadline or a few hours after the deadline that they have problems to download the stuff. I mean, that's too late. Definitely one thing, and this is one, normally it would be a problem, but be careful with this now because everything is going to go through the internet. Once you get a link to download something that you need for the homework or something, I recommend you to download it right away, because your internet might break, our internet might break. And so if you had 4 or 5 days to download something and you leave it to the last day, and that's the day where there is some maintenance on the server, well, nobody's going to help you. There is no really way to help you. So, and the same thing is, if you have any problems, like you cannot come to the class for some reason, or you cannot submit the homework, send email the moment you know that this problem is going to happen. Don't send it after. If you send it after, I really don't feel like doing anything about it. Yeah? So as for the class submissions, so yeah, I'm gonna show it in a moment, the class submission. So though on the Moodle. So yeah, so you'll be submitting Jupyter Notebook files. I'm gonna give you a Jupyter Notebook file. You're gonna fill it up and you're gonna give it to me back. There's gonna be details in the assignment on what's the proper format of everything. So you should check that. So like I said, read and download the submission in advance. Maybe best is download it right away the first time you can get there after it's been public, just to take a look through it to see if it downloaded, if it works for, if once you download it, open it in Jupyter Notebook that really works for you, what you've downloaded, and that you understood what is in there. So ask the questions early, okay? Yeah, one more thing. So like I said, there will be maybe several exercises. If you cannot do some exercises, just leave them blank. Don't do anything about them. If you cannot do any exercise, just do not upload anything. Okay, do not upload empty, or like do not upload the same file that you've just downloaded. If you do not add anything into it, just do not upload anything. And again, the submission deadline will be by Friday midnight. Every week of the class, the submission deadline will be Friday midnight. As for the consultations, you're always welcome to talk to me or to TA. Like I said, try to talk in English. If it's difficult or you cannot, the particular idea you cannot express in English, you can feel free to explain it in Japanese. Don't worry, we are happy to help you. We are happy to discuss with you. If you want a consultation outside of the time of the class, is fine as well. Send us an email. Preferably come in a group, I always say, because if you have the problem, probably other students will have the problem. So maybe ask around. If first your classmates, maybe some of them might solve your problem right away. And if they don't, then they tell, yeah, also I don't get it and I don't get it. So then let's make a meeting of a bit more people and explain it to everyone, right? So here is our class schedule. So yeah, we have a first class today. So yeah, it's a sort of the standard schedule. We will have we're gonna have 15 classes. So one thing I'm wondering about, so here is this 3rd of December, which there is sort of like officially there is no class there. This day is made for extra classes. If there was a typhoon and we could not do a class, or for some other reason we could not do a class, they would put it here. So if you don't mind, tentatively, I would put the class here. And the reason is that we are supposed to have a class on December 24, on Christmas Eve. And if I could, I would prefer to not to have a class on that day. If you have something else on the 3rd and you cannot come on 3rd, we can do it on the 24th. Why not? But I think would be much better to have 24th no class rather than no class on 3rd. But anyway, so we're going to talk about this as we are approaching it. It's it's beginning of December, so it's 2 months away from here. So maybe the last 2 classes before, I'm going to ask you again, and we decide if we can have the class there or not. Who knows? Maybe something happens, and well, anyway, things will be sorted out for us. All right. So yeah, so that's all about the class in general up to now. So maybe, yeah, we don't have that much time, but Okay, so if there are any questions at this point, and if you can either write them in chat or feel free to also to speak. And if you have any other questions later, or you can put them also on the classroom forum. So on the Moodle, let me, how do I? So are there any questions at this point?
So the first homework, will it be released today or next week?
Yeah, I will talk about the first homework. I will still talk after this. Okay, don't worry. Any other questions with respect to the schedule, content of the class, grading, materials? Yeah, I think it's quite a lot, and I've been speaking maybe quite fast. So go through this slower later. Try to understand and write questions to the forum. Like I said, the most important and I think more kind of complicated thing is to realize this class flow to make sure that you get into it. All right. So about today's class. So today's class is special because we had this introduction and everything. So I would like to now talk a bit about the difference between programming and coding, then a bit about a review of basic Python knowledge, and then I'm going to talk about the homework and about the programming and about the course Programming with Python, which we will be taking as the learning materials. So the first thing is programming versus coding. So probably you heard both of these words, and well, in layman's terms, people really they interchange them a lot in general, but they mean different things. And the difference is also important in the fact what we learn in the class, or what you should learn in the programming course. Yeah. So the programming generally is a wider term, and the coding can be put underneath it, that it's a one part of the programming. And so different people look at it different ways, but generally, or basically said, is so programming, that means solving problems using computer. Yeah. So that means you have a problem. I don't know, there is a, like what Liquid said. So you have a problem. You have a machine, and that puts a liquid in a cup, and you want to, you would like to know somehow, you would be able to know how much liquid is in that cup, or when to stop the machine to filling up the cup. So that's your problem. Now the programming part is when you are thinking how to solve this problem. When you come up with this idea that, okay, we should take a camera, the camera is going to take a picture, and then we're going to use some picture recognition system, and then we use the statistics, and we're going to create this curve, and that's going to give us the result that we want. From that, the computer will figure out how much liquid is in that cup. So that's the programming part. Now, part of that is now, okay, now you can explain it to a person, right? You can explain it. You can take some guy and tell him, hey, you're going to go there and you're going to be looking at the cup, and when it's like here, you're going to be telling me, you're going to figure it out by yourself. You're going to look at and you're going to tell me stop now, and I'm going to stop the machine. So that's not the programming part. The programming is that now you also have to think how to tell it to the computer, right? That, okay, I will have to get the data, put them in the computer. Now, how the computer is going to proceed with it. And now you get to the coding part, because you're going to choose, for example, you're going to choose the Python, and now you have to write the actual code, right? And that's the coding. That's the coding part, is where you write the code as an application for your that solves your problem. And I guess that has also two parts. So one way is this thinking like computer, to know how to translate your way of thinking to the computer way of thinking, because computer, we do lots of things in a creative way, right? The human brain does lots of things without us thinking about it. I mean, when you are picking an object, you just go and you just grab it and you just pick it up. But actually in your head is a computer, and that computes a lot of things, right? The image goes into your head, then from that, in the head, you get an estimate how far that phone is, so that sends signal to your hand how it should go there, how it should move the fingers, and you feel like, yeah, this is all natural. But yeah, it is natural, but there's lots of stuff that is happening in your head, and there is some code. Somebody, in a sense, the nature wrote some kind of or a code, or there is these processes, there is that program there. But now, and the same thing happens in the computer, right? In the beginning, the computer is very silly machine that can just do additions and multiplications. And then somebody come up with, let's say, this language, Python, where you can talk to the computer in more human way. Actually, Python is very human language. You use English words, but still the way how computer thinks is, computer is just capable of repeating actions or deciding based on the rules it has and on the data if it's going to do an action, or if it's going to do another action, if it's not going to do anything. So basically that's it. It's really like this simple, very, very simple machine. And so you need to, when you're coding, you have to be able to have your big complex idea how you're going to go and you're going to pick up the cup, or look at or solve your problem. You have to write it in this very kind of simple way. That, so what does it mean? Well, if I'm going to go there, that means first I have to measure the distance. If the distance is right, then move this finger. If this is right, move that finger, and so on. So there, I would say there are like three kind of layers of what to be able to deal with the program, or what you should learn in this course, or what you should practice. I mean, what you should practice through this course and learn that as much as possible, and learn that then, well, by your own usage of what I was talking about, is one is when you have a problem, to think of a solution, how to solve the problem. Then you have to think how this solution can be done computer-wise, how computer can solve that problem, and then how to write that, how to code it, right? So, and for the coding, that means how to express it in the language. So that also means to know the syntax, to know the proper words. That's like, let's say, okay, I mean, most of you are Japanese, so in your head, if you see some problem, first you think about it in Japanese, and then if you need someone who speaks English to deal with it, you have to translate it in yourself into the English, and maybe you also have to take into account the cultural difference, how to explain to this person so they properly understand it. And that's exactly the same with the computer. So these are these three parts that we will be learning. So here I maybe wrote it in this way, or maybe with 5 points. Yeah, there is, let's say, much more, but the basic issues and the basic things you should focus on is, so how to solve a problem, then how to implement the solution, meaning you have to write some algorithm. I mean, you have to first think of an algorithm. So some students, I think they tend to right away to start to write some code, but that's not the way to do it. If you have a problem, first think about the algorithm, how things are gonna work, how things are gonna happen. Then you translate the algorithm into the computer language. You write it down. And then after that, you're gonna get some errors, which you have to deal with, and lots of other things. Then you think about optimization and stuff like that. So kind of, you're learning several things at the same time, and they are a bit different, even though they are all very connected. All right. So as for the, so here is some list of basic Python knowledge that you should know. You should know what the recursion is, what a while loop is, what is a if statement, what is a list. Yeah, you should know some data types, keywords, and So like I said, if you don't know them at this point, we're gonna go through that course where you're gonna learn some of these directly there. Others you will have to learn for yourself, or we will learn that by sight. So this is something that, let's say, this is all everybody should know, all of these, before we start the second half of our course on some deeper data analysis. Here I put some links to some resources. So you had the computer programming exercise. I think you can go back to that course on Moodle. You might have your own notes. So do everything that you've done in that computer exercise if you don't remember it, or if you were not able to do things. There's a very nice textbook. It's like the textbook of Python. It's called a Think Python from beginners. Very nice. Here I put one course for beginners on YouTube, I think. Here is a nice IBM course on EDX. These are all free. There is this game called Checkio where you learn Python by playing a game, sort of ish. I mean, you're writing the code and then you're getting points for it, and you're discovering new islands and so on. So, all right. So, and there is lots of other resources. And if resources in English are difficult for you, find resources in Japanese. I think there must be lots of resources in Japanese as well. Yeah, here I wanted to talk about a bit more about the model exercise. So how the exercise will look, well, that's, you probably have seen it. Maybe you didn't like it that much, or you were not accustomed it. So this is how the exercise, homework exercises will look like. There's gonna be a number of the exercise, then it's gonna say what's the difficulty of the exercise, and then there is the actual exercise. And then sometimes, once they get more serious, there is gonna be what's the input and what's the output. So for example, this exercise, write a function that will receive two numbers as input, and it should return the multiplication of these two numbers as an output. It's not written here like this, but okay. And now you see input, two arguments, and they are both integers, and output is an integer. So maybe at this point you don't know how to write a function, and something is fine, but so then also you get this code here. Here, this first line of code, it defines a function that is called multiplication of two, and it has two parameters, two arguments. And where it says input your code here, basically what I would want you is to delete this also and write your code here. So the function is supposed to get two inputs. So this is this input here, A and B. They are integers, and the output is their multiplication. So I write here, return A times B. And then here is this pass. Pass means that just the program should continue. So this also you delete, this is not part of it. And now this is the answer. I mean, and now you run the code. I use Shift Enter to run the code. And so you see it wrote here, so example 6, it seems to be working. So here I have this other part down here, which you should not be touching. And this should just help you to tell you whether your solution is probably right or not. So for example, if I do here, instead of A times B, I do B times B, and I run it, now you see first thing I got here, what I got here is an assertion error. We're gonna talk about it in a moment, what the assertion error means, but this is just to help you that this tells you that the code is running, but it's not doing what it's supposed to. I could also make a mistake here. I could, for example, forget to write this thing. I do enter, and now I got syntax error. Can't use third expression here. So this means syntax. If I got a general error like a syntax error, that means I wrote a wrong code. Now like this, my code is okay, but as you see from the code, this is not doing what it's supposed to. It does not give me the product of the two, but it gives me the square root of the second, the square of the second one. And so these assertion statements here are that they test your program. And so if it all runs fine, so in the end, it prints this, it seems to be working. So that means all these statements here went fine. So that means that it looks like your code is probably fine. Still, maybe there's some, like in a sense that it does what it's supposed to, and that it gives the product. It does not give a square of 1 or a sum or something. Okay, and so basically, whenever you will have the homework, you can ignore this part here. you do not change anything about this. But what you want is once you run the program, you want this to in the end to say here this, it seems to be working. Yeah. So don't delete this part. Don't do anything with this part. Just leave it as it is. And if your program has no mistakes and if it does what it's supposed to, it should print this. If it doesn't print this, that means your program is not doing what it's supposed to, at least. All right. So here is more on the assert statement. Here I put you can Google it here. I put a Google search here. You can put assert and take a look. And what is the use of assert in programming? Take a look at that. You don't have to use it at this point. Just you might see it here and there. And basically it's just, those are just statements that are verifying that your program does what you want it to do. All right. And so finally, we get to the content of today's class. So let me show you the Python programming course. So this is the web course that we're gonna be following. Here you can see here is some schedule. We are not going to take 12 classes to do this. Some of these we're gonna do at the same time. But so I'll be weekly saying which parts of this course you should do. But so anyway, just quickly about this. Yeah, I don't have to actually explain anything about this. So now if you go to Moodle, if we go to Moodle, okay. I'm gonna publish what happens every Thursday morning in the class. What you're going to see is a new class assignment. So like I said, every Tuesday morning, there appears a new class assignment. So for today, let's say it appeared here this Tuesday morning. And here in the class assignment, here you've got all the explanations. So this week, pre-class learning, I call it a pre-class learning because you're supposed to do it before the actual class, right? Like we said, you're supposed to work and then the class is for you to ask questions. So this week, pre-class learning is to read Setup and Chapter 1, Python Fundamentals on the Programming with Python. Here is again the link. So this is what you're supposed to read. And there are also some exercises, so read it and do the exercises. Then here is a video. Following video gives the summary and the guide to the learning of this week. So here you have a video. It's on YouTube. I go there through the learning. I would like to make these videos really short, but at the same time, it's quite difficult and maybe some people want more details. So I put here at least what the video contains. So there is an introduction for maybe almost 2 minutes. Then from second minute, the setup of Python data, of Python, how to download the data you will need for the exercise and how to use the Jupyter Notebook, some quick tips. And then from 9 minutes is actually the Python fundamentals. So you can watch the whole thing or you can just skip and watch the part that you need. Or also if I talk slowly, feel free to watch it faster, right? So that's what I've been doing a lot, watching other people's videos faster if it's not so deep and not so difficult. And so after you finish the learning, meaning after you've read through the web page and after you've watched the video, then here down here is a Jupyter Notebook. Just download this Jupyter Notebook, change the student ID to your student ID, then read there the exercises, read them, solve them, and then upload them before the deadline. Here it always says the deadline. So there is for this one, it's very simple. You do the learning and then this is gonna be very simple because the deadline again is Friday midnight. So now you have 2 days to finish it, but I put there really like a little bit of stuff. We really start from zero. The first lecture is like super easy, but yeah, it works for us because we really have only the 2 days and basically we have almost no way how to help you with this. And here are some notes. So read these notes carefully. I think I mentioned most of them in the class. So read these notes carefully and then submit the homework. And then the next week Monday, I'm gonna publish here on the first class, I'm gonna publish here the some video and the solution to the homework. And then next week, Tuesday morning, new class assignment is going to appear for the next week class. And this class assignment, again, will contain a rough description of which part of the Program with Pythoning web course you're supposed to do. There's going to be video, and there's going to be the homework. All right, so yeah, I was hoping I could say all of this much faster so you could already watch the video during the class time. I'm sorry, it didn't work out. So yeah, so I will finish at, so this is, I think, all I wanted to say for today. So if there are more questions, if there are any questions, so ask any questions now, or feel free to leave and yeah, take a look at the homework, read the webpage. I mean, it's basically the most important thing till the Tuesday morning for you is to have Python installed and running with Jupyter Notebook. So you can open these notebooks, you can work with them, and also have this setup done. This setup means also to download. We're going to be looking into some inflammation data. So you need to have the data downloaded so you can work on them. We'll be working on spreadsheets of data from the next week, from Tuesday morning. The next exercise will already use some spreadsheet data. So you have to have these spreadsheets downloaded. And so yeah, this should be done by Tuesday, so you can then work on the next one. And also take a look at the first learning, but it's very simple, it's very basic. I think all of you already went through that kind of learning, so it's going to be just a reminder. All right. So yeah, are there any questions at this point?
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
I couldn't download. I could download the homework file, but yes, I couldn't open.
Okay. So, what kind of what do you use to open Jupyter Notebook files? Because it's a Jupyter Notebook file, so you cannot open it just in any kind of IDEs. Some can be, I think, Spider, or maybe they can open it, but not so properly. So do you have Jupyter Notebook installed?
Maybe I did this spring.
And so what did you get? Did you get error like that the file is corrupted, or?
When I open the homework file, there's no application to open.
Well, okay, so all right, so there's this thing that, yeah, generally this is not how the Jupyter Notebook works. Like, it's not like Windows thing that you just click on a file and it just automatically opens. You have to first open a Jupyter server like this here, and then from here you open the file. So go to the Moodle and watch the video I made for this class today for the homework. There I explain how to start the Jupyter Notebook and how to open a file in a Jupyter Notebook. And I think you should, if you have it installed, it should work for you. If that still does not work for you, then write me an email and we can sort it out. Okay.
Okay, so I will reinstall Jupyter Notebook again. So
you don't have to reinstall it probably, but take a look at the video. There I explain the steps, how to what to do, how to open a Jupyter Notebook file in Jupyter Notebook. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so I'm sorry, I see I have a chat here. Yeah, I will upload the video of this lecture on right away after, but maybe it's gonna take some time. I don't know how big it's going to be, maybe I have to put it on YouTube and then back to Moodle. Faculty of Engineering, if they can take this course. You're a first year student or? Mr. or Miss Sa Junyong? Second year. You're a second year student. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. You can take this course, but I think officially you're supposed to, because this course is for the Kyoso Gakubu. So I think you're supposed to officially ask for permission. I'm fine. I'm fine with it. So maybe write to the staff at your that deals with the registration courses in your department, and they should tell you who to write, or you can directly write to the staff at the Kyoso Gakubu that you would like to take this course, and then they will contact me and I will say that it's fine. But yeah, I'm fine with it. So just maybe some some formalities have to be done. Yeah. I was thinking about, so the question is if I could get the answers or the hint of the last homework for the Python skill review. Well, yeah, I was thinking about it. Of course I can do that, but at the same time, okay, I will upload the Jupyter notebook with the solutions, so you can play with it by yourself. But I thought maybe would be good to try it again after we finish this the introductory part of the course, after the 7 weeks, maybe to give it to you again so you can try it by yourself to see if hopefully you've improved after that. Okay. So is it okay to use Colab for assignment and upload? Yes, you can use Colab. I think that should be no problem. Yeah, but like I said, I think it's yeah. If you have if it's difficult for you to have Python installed on your computer, then you can use Colab. But yeah. Okay, any more questions? We have 1 more minute. All right. So if not, so thank you very much for coming. Yeah, I'm sorry this class today. The other classes will not be like this. I mean, you will be talking as well. So yeah, today we had to say a lot of stuff. So please, the deadline is by Friday. Yeah, maybe you still think you're not sure with this course, so take few more, do the homework, and of course you can always withdraw from the course. No problem if you feel like it's too much for you. But yeah, maybe at least try the next week class still. Like I said, it's going to be different, and try the learning resources, and good luck. All right. Thank you very much. See you next week.